And at 8:02 p.m., he calls me. Hey, I can tell his voice is kind of shaky. So my first thought is, who died? Like who's he going to tell me that died? And then I couldn't fathom what actually came out of his mouth. So he said, "Hey, I know who Charlie Kirk shooter is. I know the family through religious association, and he's in Washington County now, and we're working on trying to get him to come in voluntarily." Tyler's family trusted this individual. They knew he was involved in law enforcement at some point, and enough community involvement there that they trusted that they could go to this individual and he could contact me directly, and that we could facilitate a peaceful, calm, relaxed surrender, put it that way, right? Make him comfortable for a couple hours, make sure he has water, no communication until the lead investigators arrived.
Did accused Tyler Robinson negotiate a gentle arrest after killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk? Fresh revelations from the Washington County Sheriff's Office have now ignited a heated debate. Sheriff Nate Brooksby confirmed receiving a call at 8:02 p.m. on September 11th. A retired detective tipped him off. He knew the shooter. Hours later, Tyler Robinson, along with his father and a family friend, drove down from Washington, Utah, to the sheriff's office in Hurricane. During the drive, the family friend called the patrol division chief directly, informing him the suspect was ready to turn himself in. When Robinson arrived at the office, he wasn't paraded in cuffs before flashing cameras. Instead, he was escorted quietly into a building marked "Authorized Personnel Only." Officials described the process as gentle and inviting. Tyler spent the night at the sheriff's office before being handed over to the FBI just before 6 a.m. According to officers, Robinson was quiet and somber, but make no mistake, he had earlier told his father he would rather take his own life than be arrested. Today, Robinson is inmate number 460956. He's under 24/7 suicide watch in a special housing unit, isolated from other prisoners to prevent self-harm or clashes.
Charlie Kirk was assassinated at UVU in the afternoon. About a 33-hour manhunt ensued, and I was winding down for the evening. And at exactly 8:02 on the 11th, I received a call from a friend of mine who happens to be a retired detective that worked for me for many years. I didn't put that out there initially. I wanted to protect that individual as much as possible. Unfortunately, in the court documents, which is standard, he was referenced as a retired Washington County deputy. So I didn't put that out there. It was in the court docs. I was trying to protect even that information and just saying retired law enforcement in general. So I get a call from my friend, and his said, "Hey, how you doing?" Good. And it's not, he's been retired a few years. We'll call each other. It's not unusual for me to get a call from him or vice versa. And at 8:02 p.m., he calls me. Hey, I can tell his voice is kind of shaky. So my first thought is, who died? Like who's he going to tell me that died? And then I couldn't fathom what actually came out of his mouth. So he said, "Hey, I know who Charlie Kirk shooter is. I know the family through religious association, and he's in Washington County now, and we're working on trying to get him to come in voluntarily." During that phone call, some information was provided about Tyler potentially having some suicidal ideations, was en route to a remote area of Washington County. The parents convinced him not to do that, and conveyed that they would stand by him and help him surrender peacefully. So at that point, that phone call was 1 minute and 41 seconds. I immediately called Sheriff Mike Smith in Utah County, who I knew was at the incident command in Utah County. So for about 40 seconds, I'm telling Sheriff Smith, "Hey, I'm confident we have the shooter in Washington County. We're working on getting him to come in and surrender at my office." We didn't have him yet, and after about 40 seconds, Sheriff Smith's like, "Wait, what are you talking about? So he was shocked, as I was, to hear the news. And so I repeated myself. He said, how credible is it? I said, I trust this guy that called me with my life. And I think it's time you need to get your people, the lead investigators, headed to Washington County. Within the hour, my friend drove Tyler and his parents to my office, where he was greeted by plainclothes detectives. So that was part of the deal. Is Tyler knew it was just inevitable with all the law enforcement pressure that his picture in the news, the gun on the news. He knew it was inevitable that he would be caught. He was fearful of a SWAT team hit on his house, or he was fearful of being shot by law enforcement. So part of the negotiation and getting him to bring himself in was that we would treat it as delicate and as soft as possible to make him feel comfortable to where he would show up at my office, and that's exactly what happened. So essentially, we weren't the lead agency. Basically, it was about a 2.5 hour waiting in a room, not communicating with the suspect. Our job was not to interview. Our job was just to get him here. So after about 2.5 hours, we ended up getting federal agents and state agents in, and some of my detectives were asked to go out into the community and secure 2 locations, so the parents' home and the apartment that Tyler was living in, along with the vehicle that Tyler was likely driving up at UVU. So that's about it.
Sheriff, how would you characterize that former law enforcement friend of yours as doing something good here?
Yeah, outstanding. He deserves full credit. I think that a lot of it's just the community relations, right? So Tyler's family trusted this individual. They knew he was involved in law enforcement at some point, and enough community involvement there that they trusted that they could go to this individual and he could contact me directly, and that we could facilitate a peaceful, calm, relaxed surrender, put it that way, right? Make him comfortable for a couple hours, make sure he has water, no communication until the lead investigators arrived. So.
Sheriff, you mentioned you got a call from a retired detective. What went through your mind in that moment when he told you what was about to happen? How did you negotiate with Tyler or his family?
So
what were your first impressions when?
So shock, right? So like I said, I couldn't imagine the conversation that occurred in that 1:41 conversation. But there was negotiation. There was some criteria that needed to be met for him to voluntarily come in, and I agreed to those terms.
What did he ask for? Can I ask?
He basically for a peaceful, gentle, comfortable transition for him to come out. Again, he knew he was going to get caught. He didn't want a big SWAT team hitting his parents' house or his apartment. He was truly fearful of being shot by law enforcement. So that the conditions were as relaxed and comfortable and almost to the point of inviting. And if at the end of the day we accomplish him surrendering peacefully on his own, I'm gonna make some concessions to make that happen.